Now, the overarching promise is that we will deliver high growth. They made the same promise in 2014 and in every budget thereafter. But as you know, over a period of 5 years, they have delivered 7.5% growth. And even that 7.5% is suspect, as testified by Dr. Raghuram Rajan some months ago, and as testified by Dr. Arvind Subramaniam only 2 weeks ago. The economic survey promises 7%, not even the 7.5 that they achieved over the last 5 years, and certainly nowhere near the double-digit growth that they boasted about 5 years ago. While the economic survey promises 7%, the budget document are premised upon an 8% growth. I have not come across recently a situation where the economics division is projecting 7% growth, whereas the ministry is projecting 8% growth. Now, how will they achieve the 7 or 8% growth? Firstly, every economist of international repute and national repute has said we must do structural reforms. The budget speech in 2 paragraphs uses the phrase structural reforms. Maybe there are 1 or 2 places more, but I found them in paragraph 9 and paragraph 24. But a close reading of the budget speech will indicate that there are no structural reforms that are being proposed. Let's start with taxation. And the first period is period A, 2018-19 upon 17-18. The second period is period B, 2019-20 upon 2018-19. Corporation tax. In period A, it grew by 16.17%. In period B, they are projecting a 15.43% growth. Fair, but lower than last year. Income tax. Period A, it grew by 7.1%. In period B, they are projecting a whopping 23.25%. Customs duties. In period A, it was negative 8.6%. In period B, they're projecting a whopping 32%. Union excise duties. In period A, it was flat. In period B, it is 15.55%. GST. In period A, it was 3.38%. In period B, it is 45%. Except corporation tax, every other number, to be polite, is suspect. None of these numbers is credible. So where will they get these revenues from? In 17-18, gross fixed capital formation was 48,96,000 crore, roughly 49 lakh crore. In 2018-19, it was about 55,69,000 crore, a growth of 13.74%. But the GFCF ratio is still only around 30%. In fact, it was stuck at 28.5 for 4 years. It's moved up in 2018-19. It was some years ago as high as 34.5%. So it is a low level of gross fixed capital formation. The budget speech boasts, and quite rightly, that we got FDI of $64 billion last year. That's correct. Except that, the finance minister missed out a word. It is gross FDI that she's talking about. Net FDI was only $43 billion. The boost to growth is not going to come through dramatically higher investment. If the boost to growth does not come through dramatically higher investment, it can only come by greater efficiency. The ICOR must become more efficient. The ICOR must become efficient. But if it remains between 4 and 4.5, there's not going to be a dramatic rise, given this level of investment, there's not going to be a dramatic rise in the growth rate. It is investment divided by the ICOR is the growth rate. The last point I wish to make is, and this I can say, this promise they will achieve, that we will become a 5 trillion economy in 2023, 24 or 24, 25. But I make another promise. 5 years from that date, 2028, 29, we will become a $10 trillion economy. And 5 years from that date, we will become a $20 trillion economy. And 5 years from that date, I won't be alive, we will become a $40 trillion economy. There's no magic in it. Any moneylender knows this. If your nominal GDP grows by 12% a year, in 6 years it will double. We had a $325 billion economy in 1991, before the reforms started. Then the reforms took place, a very difficult period. In 2003-04, we had doubled it to 618 billion. Then again in 4 years, we doubled it to 1.22 trillion, because those were the high growth years, 8.5. Again, we have doubled it in 6 years. In September 2017, it doubled to 2.48. In 17-18, it was 2.65. So whether anybody does anything or does not do anything, by 2023, 24, it will double. We have more of the status quo. Growth will be status quo. FDI will be status quo. Domestic savings will be status quo. Policies will be status quo. Programs will be status quo. Thank God we will not regress. We will remain where we are. We will keep moving along at this sedate pace. The consequences of this is other promises will not be fulfilled. There is a promise to dramatically improve education. It requires massive investment, massive retraining, massive reskilling of teachers, massive infrastructure improvement. All that will not change because there are no dramatic improvements happening in the economy. On the health side, 1 out of 2 children is anemic, 1 out of 3 children is stunted, 1 out of 5 children is wasted. That won't improve dramatically either because that requires massive investment in the health sector. All that won't change because there's no money to do that and there are no structural reforms to change that. Finally, it won't change the lives of the bottom 20%. According to me, those are the forgotten 20%. Remember, every parent of the 140 children who died in Muzaffarpur, 88% of the parents fell in that category of bottom 20%. Their average monthly income for a family was 5,700 rupees. There were daily wage earners. 25-30% did not have a paka house, and many of them did not have toilets. That's the description of the 20%. That 20% has an average income of 5,700 today. Even if that moves up a bit, because the per capita income will rise, the bottom 20% relative to the rest will remain where they are. Relatively, they will not change very much. Relatively, they will remain very poor. According to me, fundamental transformation will mean something, and we can be proud of it, only if it touches the lives of the bottom 20%. And there's nothing in the budget which touches the lives of the bottom 20%. I wish the finance minister had devoted at least a few paragraphs to talk about this bottom 20%. Why are these people forgotten?